Good morning. This is Deb Delapiana. And this is your, I don't know, it's not going to be another 10-minute video. I think it's going to have to be just a little bit longer than that today. So we're going to call this a chain reaction report. You know, just a couple of personal observations before we get into the subject at hand, which is, the Republican Party and their propaganda that they're the law and order party. And I believe Dave will be speaking more about this tonight, but I just want to touch on it this morning. But before I do, just a couple of things. I have a child here living with me who's transgender, and also has a few other issues, none of which you need to know specifically. But she is also extremely astute and very educated and pays attention to what goes on in the world. And I have to tell you this. She had struggled with COVID during COVID to get through high school without, the benefit of her special ed teacher and without access to her counselor, who was invaluable in helping her come to her realization of who she actually was. She did not indoctrinate her in any sense of the word. I would not allow that. And she has been paying attention to what's going on in this country, and she is literally paralyzed with fear. So for the benefit of all of those people out there like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, write and file bills to criminalize gender affirming care, who talk trash all day long about transgender people, just so people understand the harm that they are doing to some people. It's unconscionable, and it's actually quite fucking un-American. That's the first thing. The second thing is, my first comment in one of the groups today was from a woman. I don't even remember her name because I did not spend 1 second thinking about what she was saying. I immediately blocked her and removed her comment and removed her. When I see things like, oh, please don't tell people to vote blue. This is a minority blah, blah, blah issue. Yes, it most certainly fucking is. But right now, I don't know what you want me to tell people, because the choice is red, GOP, fascist, or blue, Democrat. Democracy. They are not the same. They're not even close to being the same. Do they both take money from rich people? Yes, they fucking do. One party uses it to oppress other people. One party uses it to fight that oppression. We are in a very clear situation right now. We are right there on the precipice of fascism, brought to you by Donald Trump, because he was the perfect storm at the perfect time. We have one choice here. There are no other candidates on the ballot. There's no other viable third party. The Green Party has been trying to get on the fucking ballot forever. I was a Green for almost 3 years. I actually was the coordinator for the North Shore. I went back to being a Democrat. I went back to being a Democrat when all of a sudden the Green Party decided that they needed to entertain visions from the right about transgenderism. That isn't the Green Party for me, okay? The Green Party needs to be more than just about the environment. The Green Party needs to walk the fucking walk. And I realize it's not all versions of the Green Party because every state is different, but that is my fucking point. There is no unifying image, no unifying identity, and they are a waste of fucking space, okay? I'm sorry. We have Andrew Yang with the Forward Party, who has now decided it's good to consort with extreme right-wingers at Freedom Fest. You know what? Anything we do to improve the situation in this country needs to exclude right-wing ideology, period. People who would oppress others. The place we have to start from in this country is that everybody has the same rights. And no one group of people gets to pass fucking legislation to oppress another group of people. It is very clear where we are. You cannot stay home during the midterms. And you cannot do anything but vote blue because there is nothing else to fucking do. Even if the Green Party is in your state on the ballot, they are going to do nothing to save democracy. Nothing. Zero. Okay? When we have this country back in a stable situation, which it isn't right now, we can flip it anytime. The founding fathers knew this was the democracy experiment. And all it would take would be a handful of bad people and a bunch of good people who don't participate to make this a fucking fascist authoritarian country. And we are almost there. So let's all fucking wake up here. I am not going to, in this group now, my group's goals are very clear. We have to eliminate the GOP in as many states as possible, in as many positions as possible, not just president, vice president, senator, congressman, secretary of state, governor, attorney general. I'm sorry. It is that far gone. If you haven't been paying attention to the J6 Commission, maybe you oughta. Maybe you oughta. If you've moved past that, that's a big fucking mistake. So now let's talk about the Law and Order Party. Carrie Lake is number one. I've already done a video on her about her, indoctrinating children. And she does. When you're talking at Turning Point USA, which is a nonprofit that teaches high school and college kids about freedom, but your commentary is about how bad transgenderism is and how the left is the root of all evil and how, they're taking away the American dream and the great replacement theory. That's indoctrination. Teachers aren't indoctrinating. The right wing and the GOP is indoctrinating. When you have someone up there who claims to care about the sexualization of children in Kari Lake, talking about the, quote, big dick energy of Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. If you think that's an appropriate way to talk to kids you are trying to bring into the political process, you're fucking crazy. Okay? Now let's talk about what else Carrie Lake has recently done. So Carrie Lake, who once said that she, quote, denounces bigotry, especially anti-Semitism, just endorsed an Oklahoma Republican who says that, quote, the Jews, end quote, are evidence, quote, that evil exists. She called him a fighter and a patriot who was attacked by the Soros media. Once again, George Soros is Jewish and is a Holocaust survivor, by the way. And she says he's, quote, over the target. You know what? She's an anti-Semite. End of story. I don't give a shit what she said. Okay? It says here, late Friday afternoon, a Phoenix Jewish group called on Lake to rescind her endorsement of Jaron Jackson, calling it appalling. You know what? Rescinding that endorsement doesn't change anything. She's an anti-Semite. When it comes out of your mouth the first time, it isn't a mistake. She knows who this guy is. She knows this guy. Okay? This is what he has written in the past. He wrote this after watching a right-wing documentary about the enemies of Christianity. Okay? He wrote, quote, outline and detail the evil. The Jews, Illuminati, COVID shots killed. Rothschilds, communists, woke pastors, social gospel. Christ will chuck a bunch of stuff in the fire. That's for Christ to do, baby. It is not for this party to do. Okay? Media Matters for America, which is a watchdog group, found that Jackson frequently references the Rothschilds in his Telegram page. References to the wealthy Jewish family are a frequent anti-Semitic trope and has become a generic term for greedy and manipulative Jewish billionaires. There are plenty of greedy and manipulative billionaires, and they're not all Jewish. They're not. Some of them are actually participating in funding the GOP, and we'll talk about that at another time. So Jackson watched this clip, okay? In 2018, an anti-Semite who believed that a Jewish humanitarian group that aided refugees and immigrants was trying to wipe out white people. That person massacred 11 worshipers in a Pittsburgh synagogue. So in this video that Jackson made, he played a clip of a narrator claiming that, quote, an unholy alliance of leftists, that's me, capitalists and Zionist supremacists has schemed to promote immigration and miscegenation with the deliberate aim of breeding us out of existence in our own homelands. In the clip, there were repeated images of the Star of David and the phrase diversity is white genocide displayed in the background. He responded to the video by stating that he thinks the Kalergi plan is real. He does believe in the Great Replacement theory. If you think that this was a mistake on the part of Carrie Lake, then you haven't been paying attention to Carrie Lake, who has been espousing the Great Replacement theory and the election was stolen for Trump theory for quite some time now. So that's the first thing. I need to make sure you understand exactly what this woman is about. She is running for the governorship of Arizona, and she is a fucking disaster for democracy. But there are many people in the state of Arizona who are running who are a disaster for democracy. So now she's using campaign funds, even though she says she is, quote, backing the blue. She's using campaign money to pay a convicted felon. She says she wants to back the blue on her campaign website and vows to increase resources to tackle violent criminals, except the one she's paying, by the way. She has hit the campaign trail multiple times with a convicted felon who was accused by the Justice Department of trying to kill an FBI informant. You know, I just want you to know that Carrie Lake is just a former TV news anchor. She's no genius here, okay? She paid $2,000 to a gentleman named Kenneth Ulibarri, a repeat violent offender who pleaded guilty after the DOJ accused him of trying to hire a hitman to kill an FBI informant and an unrelated state charge of battery on a peace officer. He spoke at the Stand for Freedom rally in Scottsdale last July. And he has been by her side a few times on the campaign trail. That's what fascists look like, by the way. Fascists gravitate towards criminals. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about Rick Scott. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about Rick Scott here. Just who is Rick Scott? So Rick Scott is a senator. You know him. You know Rick. He looks like Voldemort. I don't know if you've ever seen his 11-point plan to save America, but it rings of total fucking fascism and authoritarian rule. You know, requiring kids to stand for both the Pledge of Allegiance and for Christian prayer when, you know, not all of this country is Christian, and this was not founded as a Christian nation. We've already been through that ad fucking nauseum. He also chairs the National Republican Senatorial Committee, who is, you know, they're charged with raising money for the GOP. The GOP, by the way, is right now having a hard time raising money. I just can't imagine fucking why. What, are you kidding me? And they're pulling ads, okay? And in the meantime, he has been chairing this committee since January 2021, but now people are wondering where all the money went, and they're demanding an audit of the committee's finances as they pull ads because they're running low on funds. So I would like to remind everybody of just who Rick Scott is. Rick Scott used to be the CEO of Columbia / HCA, and they were a Medicare. He was involved in a Medicare fraud scandal. In fact, he was involved in the biggest Medicare fraud scandal as the CEO. He was deposed in 2000 in the middle of the investigation, and he pleaded the fifth 75 times during that deposition. The Columbia HCA reached a settlement with the Justice Department for $840 million in 2000 and another $881 million in 2002, which makes a total of fines, the total number of fines at $1.7 billion. This was the largest of its time, the largest healthcare fraud settlement in its time. It has been surpassed since then, but during his tenure as CEO, he oversaw the biggest Medicare fraud in history. So the GOP put him in charge of their funding. Let's not forget the fact that he's also an elected official. And people elected him even after that. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Haven't you got a clue about how fascist governments are? They gravitate towards criminal. The criminal element is perfect for them. And by the way, while we're at it, I'm going to put in here this Donald Trump litigation tracker. Donald Trump is not just under investigation for January 6th and now the document issue. He's got an entire list of personal and private cases against him across the board. This is what fascist governments are. They are built on criminals, and then those criminals bring in more criminals, and they bring in family members. Do I need to remind you that Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump were very high up in his establishment while he was president, and neither one of them were qualified for anything, quite frankly. Nepotism is big in fascist circles. You know, Doug Mastriano, another extremist, a man who met with the January 6th Commission and took the fifth all the way through. He met with them for less than 15 minutes. You know, all of this shit, folks, you have a choice here. If you elect the GOP, on their docket is nothing but divine retribution for everybody who may have stolen this election from Trump. We are talking about a party that wants to investigate Joe Biden for the last 2 years of his term and keep him busy so he can't do anything for the American people. You're talking about a party that wants to investigate Anthony Fauci for doing his job, that wants to investigate just about everybody on the planet and get back at them. Donald Trump, if he is reelected in 2024, will spend his entire second term getting back at everybody because he is the ultimate man baby. But he is a fascist pig and he loves authoritarian rule, as does Ron DeSantis, who's traveling around the country touting and appealing to the very same people that Donald Trump is because he's going to run for president. And as is Greg Abbott, as is Kari Lake, as is Matt Gaetz, as is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who just filed a bill to criminalize gender-affirming care. Is anyone paying any real attention here to what's going on? Do not fucking tell me not to tell people to vote blue. There is a very big difference between the two parties that exist right now, and those are the only parties that exist right now. Now, I understand we're a big country, and that may be something we want to change. I do not deny that, but not fucking now. It will bring you nothing. Do you really fucking think the GOP is going to allow a third party to get in its way? What are you thinking? And by the way, when we do have more than two parties here, you're going to have to accept the coalition government because that's the way that works in other countries, and that's the way it'll be here. Okay? Because if you don't have a coalition government, but you have, you know, this many Democrats, this many Republicans, and then this many of other parties, if you don't have a coalition government, all of these people mean shit. So you need to all understand what that means. But right now, the mission from my group is vote blue. So anytime you come on there and think that we're going to discuss this openly because we can have philosophical differences. We can't right the fuck now. I'm sorry, that's where we're operating from. If you got a problem with that, you can leave. I don't really care. You're no help to me, and you're no help to us, and you're no help to this country unless your focus is to get rid of the GOP. They are a cancer on our democracy and a cancer to society. I'll talk to you all later.